Hello everyone, it's Caitlin. Welcome back to my channel, and for today's video we have the third round of TBR Trouble. So now before we get on into the fun part, I wanted to go over kind of the books that I was supposed to read last month and kind of tell you if I have completed them. These are not all of the books that I have read in the month of April. This month I have read a total of, it's either 15 or 16 books, I can't remember which one, which is ridiculous. That is the most amount of books that I have read in a month, like, ever. I did complete the Owls readathon and I ended up reading all of them, so I did read all 12 books. So I am also going to use that as an excuse to not really hold myself accountable for the books that I didn't finish, because I read freaking 15 or 16 books this month, so I can let it slide. So let's start off with the books that I did complete. The first book I was supposed to read was Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, and I did read this one. The next one I was supposed to read is Dark Shores by Daniel L. Jensen. I did read this one. The next book I was supposed to read was, the name of this book is Secret by Pseudomis Bosch. I did read this one. I was supposed to read A Study in Charlotte by Brittany Cavallaro. I did also read this one. One of the ebooks I was supposed to read was Waiting for Tom Hanks by Carrie Winfrey, and I did read this one. So the 4 books that I didn't complete was the ebook or audiobook of Anna Karenina. I couldn't end up getting a hold of the audiobook, and I knew I was not going to be able to finish it just by the ebook. It's too long, so we're just going to push that back for another time. The next book I was supposed to read was a reread, and that was The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I did not get to this one. I really wanted to, but it just didn't end up working out. Next one I was supposed to read was Rebel Spring by Morgan Rhodes, which is the second book in the Fallen Kingdom series. I did not get to this one. I have no other excuse than I just didn't feel like reading it. The last book I was actually supposed to read was The Son of Neptune by Rick Riordan. I ended up switching that one, as well as changing one of my books for the Owls prompts, because I wanted to reread the Percy Jackson series before I started the next series in the realm of Rick Riordan. So I ended up changing it to The Lightning Thief, but I did not get to this one, so oops. Okay, so the last thing that we gotta do before we actually start playing the game is to figure out which color we are going to start with. So again, I'm just going to pick up my random color wheel and we will spin. So we will be starting on green, which is the other category. Okay, so we are going to be starting on green. So let's just get into the rolls. Roll number 1, we got a 1. Roll number 1, we got a 1, which means that we are starting off with another book. I did put some new prompts in some of them because I got some that were suggested in the comments. So if you have any ideas for any kind of prompts that can kind of help me figure out what book to read based on that prompt, then put them down in the comments below, because I would love to kind of have some more ideas. So we have myth, legend, or lore. Now when it comes to myth, I'm going to kind of say mythology on this one. So I'm going to choose the book that I didn't end up reading last month, which is The Lightning Thief. I'm excited to reread this because, like I said, I want to continue on with the rest of his books, and they're just so fun. I get sucked in these books so quick, and they're just super fast paced, so I'm definitely really excited to kind of go through and reread it, because it has been a few years since I have read this series. So that is going to be the first book that I will be reading in the month of May. Roll number 2. We have 2, 1, 2. So we will be rolling again. And another 1. Roll number 2, we first got a 2, which brought us to the roll again spot. So then I rolled again and I got a 1, so it brought us to the classic. Now if you don't know what the roll again, when it comes to me kind of determining the category that I will be picking from, I normally add them up and divide them by 2. And in the last one I didn't really have a problem with uneven numbers or like decimals, but this one we do. So it is actually 1.5. So what I am going to do is I'm going to pick from book type, and I'm also going to pick from the second one, which is tropes. So I have to find a classic book that fits the specific book type as well as that specific trope. So this could either bite me in the butt, or this could actually kind of be fun. So we shall see. So I think that we should start with the book type, which is the ones that I just kind of grabbed from earlier. So we have a new author. This is actually going to be a pretty easy one because a lot of classics I have not read from certain authors. And then we have book tropes, which is the one I have the least amount, and this one could also be the worst. Outsider. So this classic has to be a new author that I haven't read from, and they have to be an outsider. So Okay, so I decided that I'm going to read Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie. I have never read anything from him before, and I think this will be kind of fun. Peter Pan, I think, is an outsider if you think about it. I'm pretty excited about it. I've never read Peter Pan, and I do love that story. And I love the live action movie with Jeremy Sumpter. I think it's in like 2003. He's like one of my, I think he might be the first celebrity crush that I ever had. So we're gonna read Peter Pan. I'm actually pretty excited about that because I feel like this will be kind of a fun classic for me to read. Roll number 3. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have another roll again. And 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Roll number 3, we got a 6, which brought us again to the roll again, and I got a 4. So this brought us to the fantasy, and so I will be pulling for number 5, which means I get to pick. So because it's fantasy, I think I want to do a setting. Takes place outside of the US. Okay, this one actually will be pretty easy because most, you know, fantasy settings are outside of the US. For the fantasy that takes place outside the US, I'm going to be choosing The Crown's Game by Evelyn Skye. This is set in, I believe, the Ottoman Empire in Russia. All I know is that there is a competition element to it, which is why I purchased this book, because that's just like one of my favorite kind of, not really, I guess that's like a trope or like a plot line or theme, whatever you want to call it. I really enjoy it. I think it's really fun. And so I have been wanting to read this for a while, so I'm definitely glad that I'm going to be able to read it in this month. Like I said, I don't know too much about it. I don't really want to know too much about it. It's kind of the fun for me to not know too much. So like I said, all I know is it takes place in Russia, which is outside of the US, and we have a competition. So I'm very excited to read this one. Roll number 4. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Roll number 4, we got a 5, which brought us to the contemporary / romance. And so for this one, we're going to choose, I think I'm going to choose random for this one. This genre is the hardest for me to fulfill during this quarantine time because I don't have a lot on my shelf, and I can't really purchase any because I'm kind of broke. Then good. Caitlin's pick, so I just get to pick what book I want. The one I'm picking is Geekerella by Ashley Poston. This is a retelling or a reworking of Cinderella, and so in this one it has kind of a nerdier side. Obviously it's called Geekerella. So we have Elle Whittemer, who is obsessed with this show called Starfield that she grew up watching with her dad, who has passed away. She is going to somehow cross paths with the main actor, who is super excited about it. He's hoping that he kind of does it justice. His name is Darian Freeman, and so I can only imagine what's going to happen. She has 2 evil stepsisters in this, I believe, and so I'm excited to read this. This is an author I have not read from, and I saw that she has like a Beauty and the Beast one as well, so I'm definitely very excited. And I've been kind of putting this off because I know I'm probably going to love it, but we're going to be reading it in this month, so I'm so excited. Roll number 5. And 1, which means we will be adding another roll. Okay, so roll number 5, we got another 1, which means I will be adding another roll to this month's total. But it brought us back again to contemporary romance, so we will be figuring out which book type of contemporary romance we shall be reading. I will be reading an adult contemporary romance book, so let me kind of see which books I can come up with. So the one I'm going to be choosing is Dax by Sawyer Bennett. Don't really know anything about this other than it was like the 3rd on the list, and it was free, so I bought it or downloaded it. So that's going to be the adult book that I'll be reading for the contemporary row. Roll number 6. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll be rolling again. A 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Roll number 6, I first rolled a 4, which brought me to another roll again, and then I rolled a 5, which brought us to other. Since it is another uneven number, I will be picking from 4 and then 5, so the 4th one, which is the cover, and then we'll figure out which one I want to choose. Start off with the cover, which is the first time that I've used it, this one, so let's see. It has to be a 1-word title. Let's use the random one. Okay, and I picked mood read. So this just means that I don't know what I'm going to read now, so basically when it comes to the time that I need to read a book, it'll just depend on my mood of which one-word title I'll read. So since it is other, we don't really know what it's going to be yet. So that one is a TBD. Number 7, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, which means we have to add another roll. Roll number 7, we got a 4, which brought us to another classic, as well as we had to add another roll. So we'll be picking again from the cover. So we have purple on the cover, so it has to have a purple on the cover or an all purple cover. So the book I'm choosing for this one is Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. This is the cover that I have from the bookstore, so we're just going to go off of this. So that will be the purplish kind of color. This is the closest I could get for purple. So I will be reading this one, which is also a new author. I've never read one of her books, and a lot of people like this book. So roll number 8, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is a roll again, and we also have to add another roll. So we'll roll again first. A 4, so another fantasy. Roll number 8, I got first a 5, which brought us to another roll again, but we will be adding a roll because it is the third 5 I've gotten. And then I rolled a 4 and it brought us back to fantasy. So again, we'll be picking for a cover and then whichever one. So I'll choose my cover one first. We have more than one person on the cover. I'm gonna go with trope actually. For trope, we have Magic School. Okay, this fits perfectly. I'm going to choose Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. This is obviously a reread. This is the next one that I have to read in my reread that I have started by myself this year. So this fits perfectly because, one, there is one person in the front. We have Harry. And then if you flip, we got 3 people in the back, as well as, or actually there's 4, or maybe 5. There's a lot of people, but this is a magic school because Hogwarts. So that is perfect. I'm so excited to read this one again, and I would have reread it anyways, so I'm just glad that we got to fit it into this, which we've been able to fit them in every single month, which is great. Now hopefully this is the last roll. Roll number 9, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Our last roll, roll number 9, we rolled a 6, which brought us back to, again, the contemporary romance. Let's figure out which contemporary romance we are going to read, which, again, this one is the hardest for me to find because I gotta be resourceful. Okay, so we have a reread, which actually will be nice. Even though this means I'll have 3 books that I'll be rereading this month, I think it will be good. This was a super cute book, and I had so much fun reading this. I guess there's like a spin-off book as well by this author. I don't think it's out yet, but it's about some side characters in here. So this book takes place during the summer in a small town in Maryland where they throw a Renaissance fair every summer, and our main character Emily ends up moving back home and moving in with her sister and her niece because her sister gets into a really bad car accident, and so she kind of has to help take over and basically, you know, bring her niece to and from places. And she ends up getting signed into this Renaissance fair, and she meets this guy. She ends up meeting this boy named Simon, whose family basically runs the whole fair, and they kind of have a hate relationship in the beginning. They kind of start bumping heads, and I just really enjoyed this. I thought it was really cute. It made me want to go to a Renaissance fair, and I just had so much fun reading this book, so I'm definitely excited to go through and reread it and kind of revisit it, even though I did just read it like a few months ago. But I really would recommend this to anyone. It was really cute, like I said. Alrighty, so these are some of the books that I will be reading in the month of May, as well as the books on my phone, which are Dax, we have Peter Pan, we have Wuthering Heights, and then we still have my mood read for my one-word title for my other. So we kind of have a good mix of books going on this month. I'm definitely very excited. So looking forward to reading these. Those are the books that I will hopefully be getting to in the month of May. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to subscribe to my channel so you can see more videos from me in the future. Otherwise, I will see you guys in my next video.